The increase in violence that has plagued Chicago and other cities is what prompted the department to launch Operation LeGend 2 months ago in Kansas City, Missouri. The operation is named for LeGend Taliaferro, a 4-year-old Kansas City boy shot and killed while asleep in his bed. The purpose of the operation is to make clear that his life mattered, his name should be remembered, and other innocent victims like him, including the 8-year-old girl killed in Chicago on Labor Day, should not suffer such senseless deaths. After starting in Kansas City, Operation LeGend expanded to Chicago 2 weeks later and is now active in 9 major cities. As part of the operation, the federal government has dispatched over 1,000 of our most skilled agents to help state and local law enforcement fight violent crime. Over the past 2 months, federal agents involved in Operation LeGend have made more than 2,500 arrests, many for violent crimes, including homicide and sexual assault. One of these arrests came on August 13th, when Kansas City police, with the support of the FBI and the U.S. Marshals, arrested the suspected murderer of LeGend Taliaferro, the 4-year-old boy who inspired the operation's name. In addition to those arrested, the 2,500 arrests I've mentioned, federal prosecutors have brought federal criminal charges against 600 defendants through Operation LeGend. Bringing federal charges is significant because defendants arrested for violent crimes are often detained before trial, unlike state defendants who are too often released. In addition, federal defendants will face serious sentences if convicted, with a real possibility of long-term imprisonment at the Bureau of Prisons facility out of state. Knowing that, many of the arrestees cooperate with the government and lead to even more violent offenders, such as leaders of gangs or drug organizations. In short, the basic premise of Operation LeGend is that by taking chronic violent criminals off the street, we will force crime rates down, and the strategy is working. Here are a few examples. In Kansas City, violent crime has dropped by 32% since we launched Operation LeGend, with homicides down 18% and aggravated assault down a remarkable 47%. In St. Louis, homicides have dropped by 47% in the 4 weeks since Operation LeGend began, and more than 120 defendants have already been charged federally. In Detroit, homicides have dropped more than 25%, and non-fatal shootings have dropped by more than 35% in the 7 weeks of Operation LeGend in that city. In Memphis, homicides in August dropped by nearly 27%, and U.S. Marshals arrested 47 persons wanted for homicide. In Milwaukee, non-fatal shootings have dropped by 25% in the 5 weeks since the operation began. Operation LeGend's success is perhaps most dramatic here in Chicago. When the operation was announced on July 22nd, homicides in the city were up 51% over 2019. Over the previous weekend, more than 60 people had been shot in Chicago, with over a dozen fatalities. Other violent crime, including looting and rioting, was increasing also. And the signs pointed toward the problem getting even worse, with the campaign to demonize and defund the police gaining traction, and criminals increasingly believing that they could operate with impunity. What we committed to Chicago in connection with Operation LeGend were 400 federal agents, over $9 million of grant money to the police under our COPS program, which allowed the police to bring in 75 more positions, and $3.5 million in technical assistance to support the expanded anti-crime operations. Together, federal, state, and local law enforcement in Chicago, working as part of Operation LeGend and our joint task forces, have reversed that dangerous spike in violence. Federal agents and deputy U.S. Marshals, along with state and local task force officers, have made more than 500 arrests, many for violent crime like homicide, sexual assault, and robbery. And federal prosecutors have charged, federal charges, 124 defendants, including 90 with firearms-related charges and 30 with drug trafficking-related charges. Many of those defendants are now detained pending trial rather than causing harm on the streets. The results of those actions speak for themselves. Over the first 5 weeks of Operation LeGend in Chicago, murders dropped by 50% over the previous 5 weeks. August ultimately saw a 45% decrease in murders compared to July and a 35% decrease compared to June. In fact, Chicago in August saw the lowest number of murders at any time since April. The bottom line is that Operation LeGend has played a critical role in cutting Chicago's murder rate roughly in half since before the operation. This progress has come at a price. Tragically, an officer in Cleveland who was participated in Operation LeGend was killed in the line of duty on his first day with Operation LeGend. He was an experienced detective who had volunteered for the program, and he was investigating gangs, particularly those involved in drug trafficking. His sacrifice is a reminder that it takes a special kind of courage to sign up as a police officer. All of us mourn his loss, and we will carry on his legacy by continuing the good work in Operation LeGend, not only in Cleveland, but here in Chicago and beyond. I thank the state and local law enforcement partners here in the Chicago area who have helped make this operation successful, and I look forward to continuing to work together in the days ahead. Thank you.